I guess let's begin. Is everybody good? Volume, light, all that? Okay. Well, I appreciate everybody being here. My name is Jonny McCoy. I'm an attorney here at the Axelrod Associates law firm. To my right is Stuart Axelrod, the founder and lead attorney at the Axelrod Associates law firm here in town. We have an office here at Oak Street and another one down the street on Oleander, where we do criminal, civil rights, wrongful termination, personal injury. We do family law. We basically can handle pretty much anything that you guys need out there for those of you who are listening. To my left is my partner, Tristan Schaefer, another attorney at the Axelrod Associates law firm. Tristan specializes in everything underneath the sun that I just described, and he is the one who diligently drafted, along with myself and Mr. Axelrod, the lawsuit that has just been filed over here at the Horry County Courthouse against the Horry County Police Department and Randy Webster, former Deputy County Administrator. Is that the way I say it? All right, and we are here with our clients, two individuals that we are incredibly proud not only to represent, but to stand. Former Horry County Public Information Officer Mikayla Moskov. Am I saying that right? And over here to my left is a name we'll probably all need to learn how to pronounce. This is former Horry County Police Investigator in the Behavioral Services Unit, Kelsey, Manemeit. Did I get that right? All right. We are incredibly proud to represent these two young women in their lawsuit and quest for justice and transparency. We're going to keep hearing that word transparency around town until somebody actually shows you what that is. And that's what we're actually going to do here today, is we're actually going to be transparent and not issue a press release at 6 o'clock saying we're going to file a lawsuit. We got retained and we brought you guys here, and we're here to answer questions. All right? And we know that the other side has already started their little media journey. They went on WPDE-TV on Monday, and the chief went on there and said some really fascinating things. For an attorney, it was quite interesting to listen to, and we'll get into that in a second. But what we're doing here today, and I get a little bit animated, I get a little bit heated, but this is serious. And there are serious consequences when government officials step over the line in an effort to quell the speech or the whistleblowing activities of individuals who are lower than they are on the totem pole, who they believe don't have the energy and or ability or network to fight back. That's what Horry County's counted on for decades. I went to high school right down the road. We've seen it all before. And it's still going on in 2025. I don't care if there's a new chief in office. I don't care if there's a new county or a new deputy administrator coming down the line. It's still going on. And what happened here is, I've used several words to describe this, but it's appalling what took place. And now let's get into it a little bit, okay? So Chief Lyingheart, did I say it right? Lyingheart, L-Y-I-N-G, Lyingheart. Chief Lyingheart goes on the news on Monday night and says that these individuals were fired because we have to uphold trust and transparency. They violated trust. Okay? I want y'all to remember that throughout the course of my discussion on the allegations, they were fired for violating somebody's trust. Whose trust that is, let's have a conversation about that. Okay? Press release gets issued on Friday at 6 p.m. of last week. Now, for most individuals, we are just dying for transparency from Horry County government. And when they finally release, without Charles Perry and all of you guys having to kick down the door saying, why hasn't my FOIA been responded to? Without Mandy Matney and Liz Farrell going, what is going on with our stuff that we're asking about? In concerning the Weldon Boyd case. Instead, 3 days after they forced these young women and the other individuals involved to resign, forced to resign or be terminated, the words of the chief on WPDE, 3 days later they issue a press release on Friday afternoon at 6 p.m. So there'll be no conversations over the weekend. Hopefully it just dies down. But at the end of the day, it just feels like there's transparency finally coming from somewhere in Horry County government. And we all took the bait. Even I took the bait. I mean, I'm a civil rights guy. I was like, man, it's firing police officers? I guess I can get behind that around here. Somebody needs to do something. And that was the entire ploy of this distraction that took place on Friday afternoon. And it worked. I've already apologized to both Mikayla and Kelsey because in my mind I was like, they're being transparent. But then I got it, and then I started looking at the facts a little bit, just like you guys did. And I started getting phone calls, and all of a sudden, these individuals get referred to my office, and I am blown away. What I'm about to tell you, I can't believe that I'm hearing this as an attorney. Because there are attorneys advising these people. But I want you to remember, during whatever it is I'm about to tell you, this is exactly what we're going to allege in the lawsuit that was filed today. Okay? Now, this all started in 2021 when Kelsey and her then husband moved in across the street from Randy Webster. For those of you who don't know who Randy Webster is, Randy Webster, his name is on the building of an Horry County, I think it's the, I never could get this thing right, but it's basically like the community services building in Horry County. And his name's on the building, and she moves in directly across the street with him with her husband. And meets him. Randy Webster, oh my God, I'm a police officer with Conway PD. It's really great to meet you. I'm excited. Love to have conversations with you about behavioral health. It's what I care about most. Love to have conversations with you about the police department. I'm in this. I want to be a police officer. This has been my dream since I was young, and I'd like to talk to you about it every now and then. But her husband lived there, so Randy kept it under control for the time being. Until Kelsey finds out, you guys have all seen her court records, that her husband had committed adultery against her. Everybody got that? Kelsey finds out that her husband committed adultery against her. An Horry County police officer committed adultery against her. Now, 60% of all marriages end in divorce. I don't like to talk about other people's personal lives, but that's why we're here. So unfortunately, we got to talk about all the facts. This was in March of this year that Kelsey files for divorce. You guys ready for the dates? March of this year, she files for divorce. Okay? Shortly after that, Randy Webster starts to realize we've got a single mom of 3 living alone on a single household income now. And she's devastated. Like all mothers who face this situation and they're forced to dissolve the family and all the security that she had financially or otherwise, and she confides in Randy Webster. And you know what he says? I think I have the solution to your problem, because I'm getting a lot of leeway with this behavioral services unit that we're creating with Horry County. Some might even say, some have said in comments and otherwise, that this entire unit was, once it was starting to get created, at the inception, Randy Webster thought, I got just the person to work right underneath me in my building. So he offers her a job, making a lot more money. And here she is. Her whole world's falling apart. She's going through a divorce. And she takes it from a guy whose name's on the building and says, okay, something's going right. And she starts work with him in May of this year. Okay? May of this year. March filed for divorce. Starts working with her across the street neighbor in May of this year. Immediately, the harassment begins. No longer a neighbor, no longer married. Now it's time for Randy to cut loose. And I apologize because I never read, but I have to get some of these text messages right. These text messages took place over the course of 5 months. She was only under his employment and under his supervision and under his direction for 5 months. This guy was in some sort of form, in a supervisory role or otherwise at Horry County Police Department for 37 years. He did this to her for 5 months. He told her that he dreamed about her. Now, there are only 3 people in her unit. He handpicked all 3 of them. From what we understand, all 3 of them were young females. And he said, you're going to work right next to me in my building, you're going to accompany me to my meetings, and you are going to be my closest confidant. Right? Right away. Right away. What was that for her? You okay? Was that what you just did there? All right. So right away, he says, I'm dreaming about you. He asks her, do you find me desirable? This was within 60 days of her working for him. He begins kissing her on her cheek, in addition to hugging her. She pulls away from the kisses on the cheek. And the reason we know this is because she texts him, let's keep it professional. Cool it with some of this stuff. And he acknowledges, I'm sorry I crossed the line. These are in the text messages. We're not making this up. The guy knew that she was uncomfortable. He apologizes to her and actually says in a text message, I dreamed about you and we were swimming together in a creek and now I can't focus on work. And when he approached her about the text message, the understanding was that they were scantily clad. Little bit of clothing on. Single mom, going through a divorce. She's got one supervisor now whose name's on the building. She tells him, makes me feel like he sees me naked all day long. Or she makes that context in there and starts having to leave work early. He says, don't pull away from me on the personal side. I'll keep it professional while we're at work, but I need this personal relationship because you're helping me get through what I'm going through, and I'm helping you get through what you're going through. Now, I'm in the mental health field. If this starts to feel like grooming to you, that's exactly what's taking place. Now, this continues on, and the barrage of text messages, and I've got like 30 of them here. I'm just hand-picking a few of them to read to you. Over the course of 5 months, she's pleading with him in these messages and in person. Please stop. I love this job. Please keep it professional. This is my dream to be working here. She did everything she could. And she even told her supervisor, because she wasn't number one rank under Randy Webster in the Behavioral Services Unit. She tells her supervisor about what's going on, and nothing happens. Right? Normally they just come in my office after that and they say, hey, I got something going on, and that takes a lot of bravery. Y'all ready for courage? This young lady goes in to HR on October 16th of this year, a few weeks ago, and sits down with 2 members of the HR department and starts reading the text messages. It is, and one of them there is transcribing it. It is 4 single-spaced pages. It looks like 10 size font Times New Roman. This is the most I've read in a long time. And it was 5 months. I'm sitting there reading this stuff, and I'm going, this was over 5 months? You had 4 pages of this nastiness? And she does something that I can only dream about having the confidence to do. Standing up to authority when you don't have cameras in front of you, and you don't have a law degree, and you don't have a big network. I don't think I could have done it, even today. I'm here, and I'm not afraid because I got you guys, and Charles Perry, and Mandy Matney. I got friends in the high places. And I still get a little worried about this Randy Webster guy. I've had people message me, be careful about Randy Webster. She goes in, spills her heart out, October 16th. October 17th, Randy Webster tells Barry Spivey, I'm resigning. Let me say that again. October 17th, the day after she delivers a 4-page, single-spaced verbal complaint, Randy Webster tells Barry Spivey, I'm retiring. 37 years, that's the day he picks. Okay? On October I can get these right, on October 27th, I know you guys love these dates. On October 27th, she finds out there's an internal affairs investigation, and on October 28th, she gets called in. And it's finally time for her to talk about what happened with Randy. It's finally time for her to stand up for all the other women that are being ostracized and marginalized in positions around Horry County and other good old boy areas of the country. It's finally time. And she sits down, and they immediately look at her and go, who have you been having sex with in the Horry County Police Department? That's what they said to her. At the IA she thought she was going to, because she reported that Randy Webster was sexually harassing her and wouldn't stop. Make no mistake about it. That's what the claim was. Next thing we know, she is having to disclose her personal life that she has sort of to piece together after her divorce began in March. Now remember, her husband's issue was adultery. He had a new girlfriend. According to Kelsey, he was already dating somebody else. I shouldn't even have to say that. Who cares what he's doing now? They separated. I feel horrible that the marriage is dissolving. But now you move on. Nothing illegal is taking place. But they want to know, who have you been dating? Who have you been having sex with? Those are the words. And she tells them, I went on a few dates with the Dom guy a few months. What's his name? Did I get it right? I went on a few dates with the Dom guy after my divorce. And that didn't work out, because guess what? This was the first time she had dated in years. She's got 3 kids. She was just trying it out. It didn't work out with Dom. No big deal. So now she's got Tori. Which part? What was the time period on that? I'm getting these dates right. Prior to. Okay. Yes. No problem. I'm getting the dates right. We're all getting them right. All right. So, now she's with Tori, right? Huh? You good? Now she's with Tori, and they're dating. They're open about it. Everything's okay. People in the police department know about it. They're not hiding anything. As a matter of fact, they even told the chief about it at one point. And lo and behold, they're like, this relationship that you have with Tori must be causing some sort of issues because your husband is on the same team as Tori. And that's when they start to make the targeted, I would call it a sex scandal, but a targeted smear campaign against Kelsey Manemeit, so that when the claims against Randy Webster came to surface, that her credibility would be smeared. And it's like this old trick, the old, the witch hunts from like the 1930s, like, oh, if we just say that the woman's unchaste and she's sleeping around, nobody will believe her. She's a terrible person. And read some of the comments on y'all's media outlets. They say that. Well, she shouldn't have been sleeping around. She got what she deserved. That was what they wanted to take place, and it worked. Now, during this entire time period, Mikayla, without even talking with Kelsey, starts complaining that she's noticing Kelsey feeling uncomfortable, and she feels as though the relationship between Randy Webster and the individuals, the females in the behavioral services unit, is looking bad for Horry County Police, and it's bad optics. Those are the words that she kept using to her bosses, to Barry Spivey, to the county administrator, to multiple other individuals. She even told Randy Webster, this looks bad. The back rubs, the long car rides, the scheduling random meetings to be alone with Kelsey, this looks bad. And he responds and says, I've been doing this long enough, I don't care. Her IA was at the end of October. She gets called in November 3rd. And again, she's like, here we go. We're going to talk about the complaints that I made against Randy Webster. You know, something's going to be done here. Because after Randy Webster resigned, she was the one fielding the calls from the community going, is this have anything to do with sexual harassment? There was always smoke out there. So she approaches her supervisors and says, what do I say about this? And they say it was because of medical reasons. So when she goes in on November 3rd, she's like, maybe this is about Randy Webster. And she sits down, and what do they say? Who have you been having sex with in the Horry County Police Department? 3 days later, on November 6th, they were called in by superiors in the Horry County Police Department, and to quote Chief Lionheart on WPDE-TV, let me get it right, on WPDE-TV, they resigned, but they knew that if they didn't resign, we were going to fire them. He said that on the news to you. I mean, it's like they didn't even ask a lawyer. It's like they don't even care. But we're going to make them care today, right? So let's back up a little bit. The allegations that were made in the press release that was issued this past Friday were that they were creating an unharmonious work environment, and that they were terminated, well, that they resigned, which was actually a forced resignation and a termination. They resigned because of our policy on being truthful and transparent at the Horry County Police Department, right? Truthful and transparent, okay? First and foremost, even if all the allegations are true against these individuals, no laws were broken, no code of conduct was broken, nothing. Everything was consensual if it happened, and everything was off duty, which they admitted on WPDE-TV on Monday night. None of this stuff happened at work. Everybody consented. Nobody was really complaining about anything. No relationships overlapped with each other. There was no orgy going on like the press release kind of alludes to. None of that. Consenting adults. And one of my favorite things is once we start, pushing back and we start standing up for these young ladies, once we start pushing back, you guys are like, woof, probably should have printed that, and you go out and do some digging. So the Sun News, where's the Sun News? Sun News writes an article today where they contacted criminologist experts and professors and asked, is it normal to terminate a police officer for misconduct, for any kind of personal relationship that they're having off duty? And it said no. Criminologist said, I've never heard of such a thing. Never heard of such a thing. Another thing that was pointed out is how rapid this IA went through and how quickly they not only got fired, but got plastered all over the media. Another thing that is not status quo. But the truth is, there were allegations made against Randy Webster before he resigned. He told Charles Perry of the Post and Courier, I had no idea that there was a sexual discrimination or harassment claim laid against me when I resigned. But then somebody at the county who responded to Charles after several days says, no, he knew about it. Literally. Go read the article from the Post and Courier. They say, no, he knew about it. He resigned in the middle of the investigation before it was concluded. So I guess Randy Webster wasn't being truthful there and had been fired and smeared all over because he lied to the media and said he didn't know about any sexual harassment or discrimination claims. Although he has a multitude of texts from Kelsey saying, you're acting unprofessional, let's keep it professional, stop doing this. She tells him in person. Mikayla tells Randy Webster to his face, these are bad optics. He knows that there are people around complaining that he is crossing a line with his subordinates. And yet he still says, I retired medically. And then he issues an email to all, I'm assuming that's to all of the people in his office, saying it's been a really great 37 years, I'm just really tired, and it just weighs on me, and you need to take care of your mental health, and which I agree with. But he leaves out the part where his mental health is probably plummeting because he was harassing somebody who had the courage to stand up. So what really happened? They smeared the victim and the witness. They smeared the victim and the witness. So that when the allegations came to light, because they had to know they were coming to light, everybody sent in FOIAs and FOIAs and FOIAs. They knew the allegations were going to come to light. And so what they do, let's go back to the 1930s and ask them about their sex lives and hope that we can get something on them. And then they said, we are terminating them because they're not truthful. Let me ask you something. Who are they not being truthful to? Who are they not being truthful to? Kelsey to Dom? No. Don, oh my God. I'm sorry. Is that why you keep saying? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Other reasons.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Don, I apologize. Kelsey wasn't being distruthful to Don. She wasn't being distruthful to her ex-husband when she filed for divorce. Pretty transparent. Wasn't being distruthful to Tori. Wasn't being distruthful to the police department. She went in voluntarily and told him, we're having a relationship. So who is she not being truthful to? That's why they put the marriage thing in that press release. That's why they put that Kelsey's married and Mikayla's married, because we all hate an adulterer who's not being truthful to that poor spouse who's at home just taking care of the kids. And that's the way it worded, and that's what they wanted you all to believe. That she was not being truthful, I'm assuming, to her ex-husband, who she was filed for divorce from. Never asked Mikayla, have you talked to your husband about any issues you've ever had at work, any flirting, anything like that? No. Because they didn't need that. They had enough in their smear campaign loaded to fire off that weird 2-paragraph press release, and the damage had been done. I mean, the damage had been done. I got a lot more of these text messages and comments and quotes, but I want to see if Tristan Schaefer filed the lawsuit earlier today. He's going to tell you the causes of action real quickly, and I'm going to take any questions that you guys may have.
Tristan?
Yeah. The lawsuit got filed just before we started. It got filed in the Horry County Court of Common Pleas. There is a cause of action for assault and battery. It's the first cause of action. Relates to Randy Webster and his inappropriate behavior toward Kelsey. There's also a cause of action for defamation. The defamation involves the Chief Leonhardt, his decision to release sensitive information that he probably should not have released, which I say probably, he definitely shouldn't have released it. I understand that I'm not going to get a whole lot of thanks in this crowd for me saying that it's not subject to FOIA, but that internal affairs report never should have been submitted. It's not discoverable under FOIA. There's actually a case that's similar in point from the South Carolina Court of Appeals from about 20 years back saying that information involving personal lives, sexual conduct in their personal lives should not be released. It's a case out of York County. There's a sexual harassment cause of action. Now, here's one of the problems we have. Some of the claims we've filed, you have to go through a process with the EEOC first. Unfortunately, with the government shutdown, that's been unavailable to us. So we have filed these actions saying that we will amend once we actually complete the investigation from EEOC, because you have to go through an administrative process in order to get that done. There's a cause of action for the invasion of privacy when the Horry County Police Department released this information that they should not have released. There's a wrongful termination and hostile work environment. Basically, what we have here is what we believe, based off the time frame and the information we've been able to gather, is a decision by Horry County to whitewash the actions of Randy Webster, and to do so by discrediting these two women here. They have ruined their career. Why? Because they want to protect Randy Webster and they want to discredit them. That's what we have put in this lawsuit. I think that based off of our information that we've gathered, that is the most likely facts that will come out at trial, and that would be our position.
Yeah, so I'm happy to take any questions. What I will say, though, is the lawsuit's pretty detailed, and the Post and Courier actually wrote their article with the complaint that Mikayla lodged on October 16th in hand. So it's out there somewhere. If Tristan's okay with it, you guys can email him at tristan@axelrod.com for any and all reports that we have that he feels, because Tristan's the rules guy. So if he feels that we can turn it over to you guys, we will. So you can request that from him. But, the fact that they used this opportunity to say, look how transparent we're being. And you got a civil rights lawyer and criminal defense lawyers who are seeing cases kicked out in court every day in prelims. I had an officer recently say at a prelim for a drug case that the reason he pulled my client out of the car was, quote, because I can. That was it. He didn't say because he smelled funny, he was acting funny. He didn't say because it was a high crime area. He just looked at me and said, because I can. And the judge threw it out. But we don't have anybody say these guys are violating people's rights on the side of the road. That's not truthful. That's conduct unbecoming. But that guy didn't say anything negative about Randy Webster, did he? That officer who violated that guy's rights and had the case kicked. It's appalling that they seized a moment of honesty from Horry County police officers. And by the way, Mikayla doesn't even work for the Horry County Police Department. She works in the services department, or she's a service provider to the Horry County Police Department through their information office. Did I get that right? So let's get that straight. They say Mikayla and Tori hooked up. It'd be like if an Aner police officer hooked up with an emergency services unit in Charleston. They're like, you guys, one of you was married at one time, and was it sexual? Like, what are we talking about here? These people weren't supervising each other. These people weren't working underneath each other. They used this opportunity to say, this thing with Randy could get pretty nasty, but if we throw enough over here, if we throw enough junk over here, maybe it'll lessen the blow. Maybe it'll lessen the blow to come in the Randy Webster aftermath. Why was Mikayla fielding media inquiries right after Randy Webster retired, asking if this has anything to do with any sexual harassment of employees? Why was she getting that? It was already out there. This isn't us making this up. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But in this case, what they've done is they've not only ignited a tremendous fire in me and in my colleagues to put this out the forefront and make it right, but they've also silenced women across the state of South Carolina. This is one of the strongest women I've ever met. She has stopped me 3 times to correct me on names and dates. Like, she's the most honest person it's ridiculous. She's an asset to the Horry County Police Department. It's a travesty. I'm sorry if I got a few dates or names wrong, but I've only been on this for 3 days. If you guys need any corrections, Tristan@Axelrod.com. We'll straighten that out for you. But this is South Carolina. And we have to say, this may be the Deep South. And this may be an area of the country where the good old boy system still reigns and still dominates. But what happened here is appalling. And when I go into court, I talk to a jury, I talk about deterrence. You need to deter the public from bad actions by holding people accountable. If you do not hold the powers that be of the Horry County Police Department from the chief down, there will be no deterrence for this stuff to happen again. Do you think that there's another woman out there with earshot of Horry County who is going to blow the whistle on her boss now? She went in by herself. She filed an EEOC claim before talking to us. And then you got collateral damage over here, and then the other 4 who we're not even representing because I'm just like overwhelmed with just 2 clients at this point. They took them all out to leave a name on a building. Go ahead.
Mr. McCoy, if I can ask you a few questions here. Eric Richards, WMBF News. Regarding the alleged sexual assault and battery that took place, where did that happen? Did that happen while on duty at work, or did that happen in the community at which they live?
Definitely happened at work. The repeated kissing, the repeated hugging, the repeated advances towards her that made her uncomfortable. At one point, they got in the vehicle, he leans in to hug her, kisses her on the cheek, and tells her, "I love you. I love you." He admitted to that to Charles Perry. He said, "I told her I loved her." And he said, "The reason that I told her I loved her is because I recently died and I tell everybody I love him." Me too. I tell Tristan I love him, but not in the car when I'm trying to kiss him. And I do love you. But be cool. But be cool.
Okay. So, was there ever a police report made?
No. Yeah, she made one to Randy Webster, who was at the Horry County Police Department. Not a police report. She reported to a police officer. You know what I mean? Who's she supposed to go to? The IA is the report she made. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was reported to HR, which generally is the right thing to do whenever you're, for any of the women listening who may be a victim of this as well, report it to your HR. Generally, that's the right thing that you're supposed to do. And she also reported to her department head as well, which also is, a good thing to do as well.
It's supposed to work, right?
It's supposed to work. And, I mean, obviously, we have the fact that even all the way up to the county administrator would have known about it from
Mikayla.
Mikayla.
Mikayla told multiple people, and these are in text messages. By the way, we also have a screenshot, which is, I believe, we're including in the complaint, or it'll be in the amended complaint. Randy Webster used to say, "Hey, Kelsey, we're going out of town for a meeting." He told her on one occasion, "We're going out of town for a meeting in Columbia with SLED." Blocked off the whole day. They get into Columbia, and he's like, "Oh, no meeting, just wanted personal time with you." And they drive back. This guy was doing whatever he could to get her alone, and it didn't matter how many times that she pled with him. "I just want this to be professional." Other questions?
For your client, Mikayla, who had drafted the information regarding Webster's retirement, who directed her to say what was said in that draft, or that issuance?
County administrator.
Was there a reason for that?
What do you mean?
Was there a reason why they told her to print out that he was retiring for medical reasons?
Yeah. She never knew she assumed the reason, but, why did he retire for medical reasons and nothing else? Our allegation is the purpose of that was to protect, Randy Webster. And so, Mikayla followed her orders. And as she states, I was kept out of the loop a lot on the Randy Webster, what was going on above me on that.
The last thing I have for now is you had mentioned in your statement that all parties involved were consenting, to whatever relationships that were taking place. Are you guys confirming that there were relationships that were happening?
What do you mean? Go ahead.
So there are some relationships going on, but there's also some faults and mischaracterizations in that IA report. If you go to the complaint, you can see specifically what we're talking about is a very misleading statement. There was not Miss Mikayla Moskov was not in a sexual relationship. That's a gross mischaracterization of what actually was reported involving that. And I think that that's actually part of the defamation claim as well. And I want to address a question you said before. Kelsey's department chair or department head, we want to thank her because she actually also was instrumental in going to HR about this. So, yeah, this was reported through her department chair and then to HR, so it was instrumental in doing so. So we want to thank her for doing that.
Absolutely. Go ahead, David.
I'm sorry. When you filed your resignation, was that because they had brought you in, or were you planning to resign before they brought you in?
She had no intention of resigning.
Okay.
I'm just going to say this. They brought her in there and said, you have to resign right now. If you don't resign right now, you're going to get terminated. She said, can I have till the end of the day to think about it, to talk to my husband? No, you cannot. You have to do it right now.
And let's be clear. There's a big difference when you work for the government between resigning and being fired. So this was another offer that you can't refuse. I mean, people in the comments are like, well, she shouldn't have resigned voluntarily then you guys have never been in one of these conversations. Because they throw around certifications, they throw around reputation, being able to work for another police force. This wasn't a choice, and that's our allegation. There was no choice. No, Mikayla was never going to resign from this job.
David. Jonny, how long have y'all been on this case?
3 days.
Okay. In those 3 days, have you heard any allegations that Randy Webster was having an affair with someone in the rec department?
In the rec department?
In the recreation.
So the question is, have we heard allegations that Randy Webster was having an affair in the rec department? Yeah, I haven't heard that, but I promise you I'll probably hear a bunch of stuff after all of y'all are here. You can go to godaxelrod.com. We got informational forms, and there are 11 lawyers in our firm, so if you take me out in a car accident, the 10th one will step up, and then the 9th, and then the 8th, and then the 7th. But we are doing this not only to try to piece back a small morsel of peace for these individuals so they can sleep at night and live in this community, and by God, try to find another job someday. But we are also doing this because we know that we are going to get a lot of information from the public. Go ahead.
Who did Mikayla have the interview with to be fired? It wasn't the police chief because you didn't work for the police department.
So she went through her IA with, I believe it was HR, and then she was informed that she was fired by, I think it's the county attorney, right?
County administrator.
County administrator fired her.
She also asked for clarification and was not given any because the HR department of the county refused to provide her information about it. They just said, you can either resign or you can quit, or we're going to fire you. And if you resign, you're eligible apparently for rehire with the county, but not in the same position. But if we terminate you, that's not an option.
If the code of conduct would be different, I don't even know if you had a code of conduct.
It
would be different.
I mean, they're yeah.
Police department, right?
It's different for different things, and yeah, she was not a police officer, so she would not be part of that code of conduct. But we don't think that anyone honestly violated any code of conduct.
Nobody violated it. Even if the allegations were just bold-faced true, and all of this was taking place on the same day, and they were all like going in and out of rooms, and like the press release made it look, it still wouldn't have been a violation of code of conduct. And the Sun News story today, they go over multiple other cases where people were sleeping together on the job, on duty, and didn't have this swift and harsh punishment and reaction. More? Yes.
Sorry, but I do want to clarify. Are you guys denying the allegations that Mikayla had an affair with an Horry County Police Department officer? I just want to clarify.
Yeah, so we are denying, and this is exactly what it says in our complaint. We are denying that she was in a sexual relationship which resulted in an unharmonious working environment. We are denying that affirmatively, absolutely.
Was there any type of relationship?
What do you mean?
Was there any type of relationship? If it wasn't sexual, was there a
Are they
friendship
friends?
there? Was it, you know,
I mean,
co-workers hanging out? What was it?
Romantic.
between her and which one? Why? I mean, in my heart, which has skipped like 4 beats now because you're doing exactly what they wanted you to do. It has nothing to do with the case. All this has to do is more smear. And coming from you, yeah, you, a female trying to make it in this industry with other people. What do you want to know? She was what? She was a friend with another guy. Are you going to put that in your article and bash her for that? Or do you want to know whether or not like he made a pass at her? Like what details do you want?
Have the facts.
Really, the facts. Well, you printed the facts without talking to anybody else that these people were in basically a sex-crazed scandal and that they deserve to be fired for that.
We've reached out.
To who? You know, don't reach out to her. I'm representing her. You know exactly where I'm at.
I'm actually going to step in here for just a second.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. You and I can do this all day.
Let's all take a breath for a second. Okay?
You just asked if she was friends with one of the guys. What do you mean, excuse me? What do you mean, excuse me? Move on. Who else has a question?
What we're trying to do.
Go ahead, David. Go
What we're trying
ahead.
to
Go
do
ahead. I'll end it right now. I'll end it right now. I'll end it right. Y'all want to be done? Go ahead, David.
Have the actions of Randy Webster compromised this county's ability to do policing?
Of course it has. That's why everybody's so fired up.
That's the real issue.
Yeah, we understand that. But asking her if she had a friendship and what relationship, it has no bearing on anything.
What we were trying to do is just see why they're saying the things that they're saying.
Oh, we told
and
you.
for there to be an outright denial.
We told you that.
All of
We
it.
just told you. We're denying everything they're accusing her
No
of.
sense. Okay.
Yes, no sex. She never had sex with Torrey, ever. Never kissed him, nothing.
Johnny, are you guys asking for monetary or jobs back? Well, I don't know.
Yeah,
I haven't read
go
it.
ahead. Go ahead. The damage is part of it.
Yeah,
Tom's damages.
so some of the damages, like I said, some of the claims have not been completed yet, so I'm not going to go into specifics. But yes, we are asking for damages. We would ask that they also get restored to their previous position with back pay. And quite honestly, we want an apology. Because here's the thing. You had 2 people who had a career, and they built their career in this area, and then because of the fact that they decided to not only fire them, but also publicly fire them and smear their name, they can't go get the same job again unless they get that apology. And that's worth more to them than any sort of monetary damages we're going to get.
So I want to ask, when you guys were having the conversations with Kelsey and Mikayla, you guys had the conversations, when you found out that there was going to be some type of exit there, departure, separation from the county and the police department, did you guys, one, push back on, is this involved, did you guys ask about Randy Webster, like did that play a part, and when was the part where you realized this may be a factor into departure, it may be some retaliation is what it sounds like you guys are saying?
Yeah, I mean, our clients knew it immediately. They knew exactly what was going on. They felt it in their hearts the entire time. I mean, when you go in for an internal affairs investigation and they say, who have you been having sex with? And by the way, it's called triggering what happened between you and me. Understand? And when I'm reading this stuff and I'm telling my wife about the text messages at night, who also works at Axelrod Associates, and I can't sleep, and then I'm like, golly. Nobody ever asked Randy Webster about his sex life. And there were actual viable complaints against him. By the way, according to the Post and Courier, Randy Webster's married. That doesn't come up.
But did you guys push back when you were talking to your HR and the internal affairs, whoever that was you were talking to, did you guys push back and say, we believe this may be because of Randy Webster? Like, why is this happening? Was there any pushback?
She made a comment in her HR interview. And they were told they had to do the interview, and they were told that it was strictly to discuss this sex scandal. They weren't interested in anything else.
So Randy Webster never came up in those comments?
Only when she mentioned him. And it did not raise an eyebrow.
You have to think about the dates, too. We're talking about a week, basically a week apart. 10 days. All of a sudden they get brought in and start asking about their sex lives. The date should have been, that's the reason that they got brought in.
I also want to ask, there's a lot going on here, very tense. So I want to ask Kelsey, Mikayla, and Jonny, you can answer for them. I mean, first off, I think it's important to
I told y'all everyone wanted to know that. You want to speak on that? You don't have to.
Not well.
Not well. No one's doing well today. That's enough. We're done. Thank you all for coming.
All right, thanks, guys. Remember, Tristan at gotaxelrod.com for any paperwork or otherwise. I have PTSD and get triggered, so if that bothered y'all in here, just know that that's going to be coming anytime that I feel as though I need to stand up for my client. And I apologize to you. I apologize to you.
John,
I don't even know who you are, though. I don't know who you are, though, but I apologize to you. I don't know about you, though, man. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I know.
Go ahead,
I'd
Jason.
just like to say thank you for standing up for these women that the county clearly failed.
Thanks, Jason. Good to see you, brother.
Off the record, guys, should Spivey be fired?
Should he?
Off the record.
You don't have to off.
That was one thing.